Hello, Janet and Ron. Hello, Jeffrey, Bill Woods. Am I missing anybody? Nope. It looks about it like everybody. Welcome to the show tonight, guys. I don't know what it's going to be. We never do once I get talking and that, but I'm going to go ahead and say the pledge and talk to the kid. Say the pledge and play the music, then talk to the kids, and then we'll get in. And I got some things I want to say because I don't know about you guys, but gas is really getting outrageous, and I almost got my butt beat tonight at a gas station. But I had the perfect back line for the guy that wanted to do it. So we'll talk in a few minutes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I'd rather stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA.
When I went to his husband shelter the other day, come on.
Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
What? What? What's the talk to you? Proud to be an American. And I want to talk about that before I get in with the kids. Proud to be an American because, no, I'll talk about it later. Let's talk about the kids. Jimmy, how you doing today? Hope everything's going good. I'd like to say I hope you got outside and play, but quite frankly, I don't know if anybody's getting outside and playing right now. I know, Jimmy. I don't know what your weather is, but here I heard a report yesterday, kids, and everybody here. Ship 64, Papa G, Ian Bell. Welcome, everybody. But I heard a report that As today is the 29th, one more day left to go in a month. It started raining about 12:30 this morning. When it started to rain, it was the 24th day out of 29 days that it has rained in Illinois this month. Terrible storms, lots of rain. And what do they always tell us? Kids, and everyone over here is kids. They always say, watch the water. And I'm going to get into this 24 out of 29 days when I go into the grown-up part. But I just wanted to mention that. So I don't know how your weather is, if you're able to get outside and play, but chances are, and I love my kids here. I love each and every one of my grandkids, every other kid here. I love you all. But chances are, even if it was nice out, you'd rather stay in and get on the computer or your cell phone or your tablet. And it's a sad thing because there's so many beautiful things out there, so many beautiful things that you could be doing, playing with your friends, just doing the things that's right, not the things with electronics. Let them go. Robert Ford of Yawn, hello, I'll answer your message later. So Super Jimmy, just get out and play. Take your little sister out. If you just go out and walk in the yard. I don't know. No, I don't have to say anything here about Patriot 11 because I know he's out with his horses, even if he's not riding his horses. I know that he's if he's not riding the horses, he's out there taking care of them, doing the things soon to be with Grandpa, because school is about, can you believe we're one day away from going into the last month of the school year? Man. So, Patriot Karate Kid and Patriot Wyatt Earp, I've talked to you guys, and you guys are really cool little kids, and I know you're probably out playing, and, Karate Kid, you're into wrestling now too, so you're probably staying after school practicing in that. Patriot Princes and Patriot Hunter. Grandma put some pictures up with you two with, I think it was great grandma, maybe. Very amazing, cute little kids you are. But you don't get to be a princess without being. Patriot Boogs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie are 4 Bs. And let us not forget the Stick Man. Stick Man, are you okay? Are you okay? You haven't been Stick Manning lately. What's going on, buddy? Hey, One Voice, good to see you here. Well, folks, I am alive, was on the floor for 17 days. Everyone thought I was dead. I ate things I had there, and I had, sorry to hear that. Glad to hear you're okay, One Voice. Patriot Little Leona and Little Elan. This is always a time of year that I really think about Little Leona and Little Elan, because I think about Big Leona and Big Leon, my mom and my aunt. And my mom's birthday, as everyone knows, is the same as Little Leona on March 1st. And I think that Little Lelan is actually born on April 2nd. And that's my aunt's birthday. I really think that's how it happened, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think a lot about him because my mom loved the spring. My Aunt Lonnie loved the springs because the flowers came out. And I showed you pictures of my flowers, my tulips. We've had over 105 of them bloom so far this year. My lilacs, my mom loves lilacs. Lilacs and pineys. And they just love this time of year with the flowers. The grass is getting green. And as Julia tells me, kids, as she tells me, this is the time of the year where everything starts living again. All the stuff, the grass, the trees, all of the flowers, they die in the winter and they come back to life in the spring. And I never thought about that. Yeah, they bloom. That's what we call them, blooming. But over there, it's they come back to life. We talked about weather, kids, how all the rain and that. Well, over there, it was so cold she didn't even want to get out of bed the other morning. It's terrible. Little girl I talked to in Russia, she said, it's so cold here. I went and I did a search on it. It was cold. Plus, it was snowing like crazy in Russia at almost the end of April. Guys, they're keeping us in, kids. Now I'll get into the grown-ups. Sometimes I get off key a little bit. Patriots super gymnast. You're slow, as the song says, slow down, you're moving too fast. Well, you're growing too fast. You're 12 going on 18. Slow down and smell the roses. They're blooming. And I know your mom has some. Patriot 7, poor kid. Didn't get to play his ball game the other night. Lost his first game. Was going to bounce back Monday night, and they got rained out. What do you expect? Supposed to play tomorrow night, so we'll see what happens. Hey, Myrna, good to see you. Myrna was helping someone move. Hey, Lindy. Or Cheryl. Oh, Ian, I don't think I've said hi to you. I keep seeing something up there about Cheryl, but I don't see Cheryl. Is there something going on with her that we need to talk about? Patriot Small Hank, I was just telling Ron, I says we had his birthday. It was on the 19th on a Sunday. We went to Monica's Pizza and I made it. I looked at him and see me here, and he goes, yeah, why? Hi, Michael James. He says, yeah, why? What's going on, Grandpa Hank? And I said, well, see, I came to your birthday supper. You didn't come to mine. That was because of his mom. His mom doesn't like me. And, my mom said to me about my ex-wife, I don't have to like her. I just got to put up with her. Unfortunately, I got to put up with her all the time. Patriot Small Gymnast. Amber's been posting a lot on some social sites about her. She's getting to the age, May 5th, she's going to be 6 years old. She wants to dress herself. She come down the other morning and she dressed herself, and boy, was it an outfit. And Amber let her wear it to school. Everybody laughed, but the kids thought it was cool. Shirt on backwards. Pair of shorts over a pair of long pants. Pants might have been on backwards. I don't know. One sock pulled up over the pants while the other one was under the pants. And, hey, she's my granddaughter. She was cute. And then little Kira, she had a dentist appointment yesterday. They had to actually give her a sniff of the old gasoline or whatever they do and put her out, but she's okay. I think I really haven't seen her. So Myrna equals miss my birthday. One voice, you had a birthday while you was gone? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, one voice. Happy birthday to you. It's belated, but hey, it's the thought that counts. So I beat you, Myrna. You didn't wish them a happy birthday. Cheryl, praying for you to have comfort and complete healing. So, kids, that completes tonight's version of the kids show. I know it wasn't much, but there wasn't. Sometimes there's just not a whole lot to talk to you kids about. I could talk to you about how you need to get out and play. I could talk till I'm yellow in the face, green in the face, or red in the face. It ain't gonna matter, because here's what's gonna matter. All the while I'm talking to you, you're gonna be like this. Question of the year. My grandson looks at me and says, "Grandma Hank." I said, "Yes." Hey, Robert, good to see you. Robert, I will return your message later today. Thank you. But he looks at me and says, Grandpa Hank, he says, how long did your mom let you play on the phone, on your phone? How long did you get to be on your computer and your tablet? And how much TV did you get to watch again? I said, well, first of all, we didn't even have a TV until I was like 5 or 6. Computers were something that Ron worked on that was the size of a wall when he was in the military over in Germany and France. I knew nothing about computers, tablets, cell phones. Hello. So he kind of got the point. He just, well, I'm glad I didn't grow up back when you did. No, you was too soft. Kids are too soft today. But it's not the kids, everyone, that makes the kids the way they are. Because, see, when you go on a trip, it's easier just to give the kid a tablet than to talk to him. It's easier to give a kid a cell phone and let him watch games or play games instead of playing some kind of road game. You know, there's a commercial out right now, and the dad's driving. And he says, let's play a game. Let's look at the clouds and let's see what you can make out. Do you see anything in the clouds you see? And the little girl kind of looked out and she's seen a semi. She says, I see Santa Claus eating a sandwich. And the dad said, well, I don't see that, but that's a good imagination. All of a sudden, this semi drives on past this man. Big man with a beard, just like Santa Claus, eating a sandwich. Dad looks at the little girl and says, enough said. But he was willing. He was willing to play the game because long trips are meant to talk. I remember when my kids were younger, and whenever we went on a vacation, Amber always had to take someone with her, one of her friends. And we're going to Kentucky. We're going down to Kentucky, and we're going to go down there and have some fun. She took Jess Boback with her, one of her best friends. And I swear, all the way down there, I'm driving. All the way down there, my son, Jess, and my daughter, Amber, kept singing a song. We're going to Kentucky. We're going to the fair to see some senoritas with ribbons in their hair. We'll do the hoochie coochie. We'll turn our, and that was fun because then it was, let's see who can get the most of something, maybe who sees the speed limit sign first, or who, just different games. I mean, and now they got so many games, but none of them want to play them. And, hi, Joseph and Tony. And, I never thought much about it until here a while back, the kids were getting off, Amber's 3 kids were getting off, the 2 gymnasts and Patriots 7 early, and I picked them up. I'm going to take them for lunch. And we're driving in, and all of a sudden we start playing these games. I didn't know how to play them. Didn't know what to do. But I faked it. Because, they say you fake it till you make it. And I faked it. And when we got back, going into town, having some lunch and coming back, and we played these games. And the 3 grandkids looked at me when they got out of the car, and they said, thanks, Papa. Thanks, Grandpa. And I said, for what? For playing the games with us. It's so much better than just sitting there listening to the radio. Or as Addison, Patriot little gymnast, likes to say, listening to Grandpa fart all the time. But before I go any further in this show tonight, guys, and I'm rambling on, the kids section, this video is not made for you. You're not supposed to be watching it unless you have the permission from your parents, grandparents, or legal guardians. The music that we played tonight, Proud to be an American, we have no legal rights to it. We play it because it's our theme song, and we play it because we like the music. But I was talking to some people yesterday, and I mentioned I was a Patriot, and they said, really? And I told them I play the song Proud to be an American, and one of the people looked at me and says, why? Why? We live in the greatest country in the world. I said, it's our theme song for our our shows that we do 3 days a week. And they said, well, that's DJ T's theme song. I said, well, he took it from us. But see, I always say, I know Robert's on here tonight. And I know we've had people from other countries on here. At one time, we had a lot of countries represented. I don't know how many anymore. But one thing I've always said, when I play that song, you guys should be sitting there chatting but singing it or really listening to it. And when it says, I'm proud to be an American, say you're proud to be whatever country you're from. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Great Britain, wherever you're from. Say that. Be proud to be from your country. And that's what I tell people. Now, I'm going to go into a story, guys. You're going to like this. I'm 72 years young. Yes, with the special beds, you never say old anymore. Old is for people who feel old. And I have a lot of classmates that feel old. I just went to my coach's wake and funeral over the weekend. And one of the ball players that he coached, the same age as me, I'm standing there talking in line, waiting to pay my respects to the family. And I'm talking to this lady who was 6 years older than my coach, but she was at the wake, and my coach was 87 when he passed away. So do the math. And me and this lady's talking. Never told her my age. And all of a sudden, this guy, he pays his respect, and he sees me, comes over and talks to me, which was surprising because we played together in baseball for several years. And I don't know if we ever spoke 20 words. He was one of these guys that he made the team because of name, but he wasn't bad. He comes over and we start talking. First thing he says, I said, how you doing, Tommy? He goes, feeling old, Ralph. I said, what? This 93-year-old lady says, you're feeling old. How old are you, son? Oh, I'm getting old, ma'am. I'm 93, and look at me. I'm smiling, perky and everything, and you're walking around like you're old. I said, hard to believe. He used to be a super athlete, didn't it? Because he played a lot of basketball. And, it didn't hurt the fact that his dad refereed every sport we played. He set a record. He set a record for most foul shots ever shot at our high school in a season one year. And his dad was refereeing every home game we had. And a lot of them on the road because he was the number one ref. His dad was also a big influence for me getting my license to get started in referee. But he's feeling old. He walked away and left because he had already paid his respect. And this 93-year-old lady looked at me and says, how old is he? I say he's a couple months younger than me. I said, I think he was born in May and I was born in February. We're 72 years. I'm 72 years young. He's 72 years old. And the lady says, I would have guessed him for my age. And laughed. And I mean, that's when you find you were Bill Woods and Sarita and Jeffrey, one voice. That's when you find happiness, when people don't want to feel old. And then I got talking to this lady. I said, how long do you want to live? She said, as long as God will let me. And I said, well, how about if I tell you something? And I told her, and she said, are you kidding me? I said, no, this is the truth. So we're walking together up, and I said, here, go talk to Mike, my coach's son, talk to his wife and his son, their son, and I'll let you go first. She said, no, you go first. You know him. So once I got talking to him, Mike knows all the stories of me and Coach, and we stand there talking. And I look back, and here's this 93-year-old lady on her cell phone. And I'm thinking, what is she doing? You know what she was doing, anybody? Can anybody guess what she was doing, Janet and Bill, Joseph and One Voice? Anybody here, can you guess what this 93-year-old lady and her pal who's in her 90s, guess what they were doing on their cell phones? Anybody got an idea, Cindy?
Gee, I guess.
Ron can guess, but I've already told Ron the story.
Yeah, but you never told me they were on their cell phone.
Nobody wants to guess.
Oh.
They was looking up special beds. And I got through the whole family. They got through the whole family. And as I'm walking out the door, the little lady looks at me and said, hey, Sonny. I said, hey, how about you call me Ralph? Patriot 5 or anything, but Sonny, that's okay. And I said, what you need? And she says, we just Googled this and look at what they say. They say, Sonny, we can live to be a long time. And I said, yeah. They say, Sonny, we can go back to where we're like 30. Do you know what it means to a 92-year-old, 93-year-old lady that she thinks she can go back to when she's in her 30s? She says, wow. And I'm going to tell you something, and I can't believe I haven't told Ron this story yet, but it kind of went away, you know, and now I'm thinking about it. She looks at me and says, you know, Sonny, I said, what's up? And she goes, I can maybe even have more children. Whoa. Oh, when she said that, it blew my mind. You know, think about that, Papa G. I'm sure that's what you want to go back for. She can maybe have some more children. And I loved every moment of it. But it's true, Cindy. It's true, One Voice. It's true, Sarita and Johnny Holiday. This is going to be the greatest ever. But I got to tell one more story in there because, see, tonight I had to go in and get some groceries at Walmart. See, on my insurance card for my Part B, I get $100 and some a month for groceries. But if I don't use it, I lose it. Well, I was ordering right off of the catalog that they send me, and they were shipping it to me. And all of a sudden, my card quit working. So the lady said, why don't you go to Walmart or places like that and buy your groceries? I said, I didn't know I could. So I've been using it. I still had a little bit of money in it, and I don't want to lose the money on it because I lose it. So I went into Walmart, and I'm getting some groceries, and I get done, and I stop at the gas station right there by Walmart. $4.69 a gallon. Anyway, I'm in there, and lady leaves a sign, and she says, be back in 5 minutes. Had to go to the bathroom. Their bathroom's outside. Inside, but outside, if you know what I mean.
You gotta have a key.
Yeah, you got to have a key. Hey, Maria. So anyway, I waited 5 minutes. She didn't come in. So I said, I'm just going to use my debit card. Instead of prepaying, I'll use my debit card. I went out and I put my debit card in. I couldn't get it out. Couldn't get gas, couldn't get it out. So I went in. I said, hey, I waited in line for almost 5 minutes to ask her if she had like a pair of pliers or something I could use to pull it out. No, I don't. But she said, if you wait till I had 6 people in line, if you wait till I take care of all these, I'll come and see if I can help you. My hands are a little bit smaller than yours. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to go outside. And all of a sudden, the price of gas, a lady there who fought in the Vietnam War, this lady did. She, hold on a second. I got to move my dog. She gets talking about the wars. And there's this, I'm going to call a spade a spade. There was this jerk behind us, and he goes, never was any wars. There haven't been a war. This lady turns around and says, I'm 80 years old, and I fought in the Vietnam War. You tell me the thousands of men and women had died wasn't in a war? Was you over there? And she goes, no, you weren't over there because you ain't even old enough to be there since I was there. And he got talking. He got real cocky. Nothing's ever going to change. As long as that man's in charge. And, I kind of have this hat on. I have this sweatshirt on. Nothing's going to change. A lot's going to change. Gas will never go down as long as he's the president. I said, oh, I know who you are. You don't know who I am. I said, oh, Papa G, I told him I knew who he is. Jeffrey, I told him. John, hi, good to see you, John. Maria, who do you think he was? Oh, yeah, he was a rat. He was one of those Dem rats. And he looked at me and said, how'd you know? I think he's the most negative people in the world. But I said, you know what? He's going to do some things here soon, Janet. And when he does them, you guys are all going to want to get down on your knees and kiss his royal behind. I'll never do that. I said, no, you won't. Because I think you're a little bit, you know, and the lady turns around and said, no, he's not a little bit. And his lady really went off on him. And he said something to her, and I said, hey, watch what you say to a woman. He looked at me and said, you want to go outside? I said, sure. Got to go out there to get my card out of the pump anyway. I'll go outside with you. He said, I'm not talking about that. You want to go outside, old man? I said, well, sure I will. But I said, I want to warn you one thing. He said, what? I says, if I get a lucky punch, and I said, I'm not going to punch, I'm going to kick, and I'm going to kick in a certain area. And if I land it, you're going to go down like a bull. And they might have to carry you away. And you just got your butt beat by a 72-year-old man. If I don't land it and you kick my royal rump, I said, you think you won. But see, that's what Democrats do. They think they won, but you're going to be ridiculed by everybody. And since I used to work for the Kankakee Daily Journal, I know a lot of people there, and I will make sure that there's an article put in there with your picture, because this lady is going to take your picture as you're whooping my butt, and they're going to say, look at what this young man did to this older gentleman. You got to be careful. My problem is I have a big mouth. Especially when I talk to stupidity like a guy like that. Hey, Michael. So we're at 90 people. 24's give me a thumbs up. You know what we should do? We should see if we could get the thumbs down on here too. I'd like to see how many people would hit the thumbs down. They'd probably recruit people to come out and say, hey, you want to see something that's crappy? Go watch this man talk. So anyway, last night Bruce had a pretty good call, I thought. When I was talking to Mary Ann, there was a lot of frustration because we had Dumb and Dumber talk first. But Bruce talked about Iraq having a new prime minister, and it's not the one that was, it's a new one. That is a step in the right direction. About certain currencies going to be on the screen. About currencies going up. About bond members should know tomorrow. Was it tomorrow or today, Ron?
I can't remember.
It was one of the two. The money will be in their accounts. He explained how tier 3 and tier 4, A and B, are pretty much the same. They're going to go just about the same. And I'm going to read what Bruce said, so I'm just giving you some highlights. But he also talked about the quantum phones, the computers, what we had to do when we was there. We'd have 35 to 40 minutes and old news, some of it. But as I explained to Mary Ann, it's things like that to prepare you, because you don't forget it. Because, Jeffrey and Papa G and Janet, if you don't keep getting reminded, me, I talk a lot about the beds. I talk a lot about the money that we're going to get back and things like that. I talk a lot about when you go to the redemption center, and go there, don't go to a bank. But when you go, don't be nervous. If you got someone to go with you, you got a plus. If you're going by yourself, stay cool, calm, and collective. Remember one thing, Bill Woods. Remember one thing, Johnny Holiday and Jeffrey. When you go there, this is your money. This is your money. They're going to give you 40 to 45 minutes to go in, get your quantum account set up, get your cards, get other bank accounts. They'll help you. The one thing he did say, that bankers are not going to know how much money's in your account. They're not going to see it. And that's the only thing I disagreed. They're going to see it now. Whether they'll know exactly what's happening as time goes on. I don't, from what I'm understanding, know. But they're going to know, because how, if you take and put $25 million in an account and they're the ones doing it, they have to give you some kind of proof that you did it, or they could run, as the song goes, run, reindeer. So I believe he'll do that. But I mean, I'm not going to give Bruce an A+, but I'm not going to give him a D- either. I would say somewhere around the B to B+ area last night. It was a lot more than what normally, John. It was, to me, I thought it was a decent thing. Wolverine says, guys, we're very close to wearing MAGA hat. When it happens, I'll send you a snapshot. So now I guess he's went from singing soprano to he's going to wear a MAGA hat. I have seen DJT in a couple videos recently stating that it was supposed to be this week, but we're midway through the week, and he stated that $2,000 will be going into everybody's account if you're 18 and older, but also for, it's going to be more for senior citizens. He's supposed to be giving senior citizens also a raise. But to me, guys, I am not putting the gauntlet down. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying he's not always. Sometimes he says what we want to hear. You know, what I base a lot of things that's going on is the fact that he wants to have the 4th of July to be a huge celebration. So I believe we are close in some ways. Here's something in case you missed it. Federal grand jury indicts former FBI Director James Comey for threats to harm President DJ with a T. Threatening the life of a president of the United States is a grave violation of our nation's laws, said Attorney General Todd Blanche. The grand jury returned an indictment alleging Mr. Comey did just that. At the time when the country has witnessed violent excitement was witnessed, followed by a deadly actions against the hat. Now, when I read that, guys, I'm reading something that someone sent me. Someone has found it in a post. I don't know for sure to be true. I'm just saying it happened. I'm just reading it to put information out there that I was given. On another note, in the attempt against our president, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I think it was staged. I mean, when Carolyn Levitt comes out and says there's going to be shots fired tonight, there was. But has any of you watched the video once, twice, 50 times about the incident? Did you see how fast they got JD off of that stage? Did you see the time it took to get DJT off? But there was also a reason for the timing, because did you see he broke away because his beautiful wife had fallen. She tripped as they was trying to get her out of there because she had high heels. She tripped and she fell. He went over to try to help her, bent over to help her, and stumbled himself and fell. Now, he could have had all the people there helping him, but instead what he did is he blanketed her. He laid on top of her to protect her, is what he did. Now, after this incident, there's a gentleman, he thinks he's cute, he thinks he's smart, he's a total douche, but that's what it is. Goes by the name of Jimmy, and I think you know the last name. And he made this statement, a very, very terrible statement to our first lady about being a widow. Well, let me tell you this, it might have been career ending for this guy. Anyway, I think he's going to end up in that place that we like to call Little Mo, with a little giddy to it. But boy, I'm telling you, Melania was upset, and she is not going to rest until justice is done. Why would anybody go out and do something like that? Myself personally, there's people that's out here in this our world that we think who we think they are. There's people that's other things, and I really believe that he's got a character playing him. I believe he's already at the Mo place with a little get up in it. Linda, if the bondholders are being paid, then logic says if we have them, why are we still waiting? If you have bonds, John, the bondholders are the people who's went out and the bonds that all of us have it together in this group wouldn't even be a sneeze to what these have. These are people that have thousands upon thousands of these bonds. So they want to get them out of the way first. If you have bonds, you'll get paid for your Zim if you have Yellow Dragon bonds. But see, you're part of Tier 4B, the internet group. That's why that is. And if they're getting paid tomorrow, if we get our notifications tomorrow, it's a win-win. The one thing you want is to hear they got paid, because once they're paid, there's nobody they can go to but us. Tier 3A, Tier 4A, and 4B. So that's what we're looking for, John. I hope that helped you. Yes, I just mentioned that, John. Zim is a bond. But the bond holders that are getting paid probably have 1,000 of these.
They have different kinds.
And they have all kind of other bonds. I mean, just go Google Yellow Dragon bonds. There's yellow, there's purple, and I didn't even know about the dragon bonds until Wolverine kept wanting to sell them. I kept trying to get in touch with him. I wanted to buy some, wanted to see how much he wanted. I found out how much he wanted, and I said, well, let's go and Google it. And I did, and now I'm the proud owner of, we and Ron, of 240 of them. This is something I thought was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It's a small article, but I think you'll like it. Wow. President the Hat is shocking experts listing off medication prices being cut, jaw-dropping amounts. Blood thinner, $750 it was to $16. HIV, $1,500 to $217. Hep B medications, $1,400 to $413. Hep C, $25,000 to $2,500. The fake news will not admit all prices are like that, because we are bringing them down to the world's lowest price everything, the absolute enormous. That came from his beautiful wife, Melania. I did see DJT in a video stating that, the money is starting to come. He really wants to start getting in the hands of the seniors and working the way down. And guys, I'm not saying he wants to get it in the hands of the seniors first because I'm a senior. I'm saying it because we're the ones that's most deserving. Right, John? Papa G? We're the ones that's most deserving because we're the ones that worked 45 years already. So we could retire. And what good does it do us retire? We don't have money to live. There's people in our group that was homeless for a while. There's people in our group that still is struggling. But we keep going. We won't give up. We won't surrender. So I'm going to read a little bit here about Bruce. I'm not going to read it all, I don't think, because it's pretty long. Ron told me last night when he got it that it was pretty long, and then I'll read Judy's got to say. But guys, we've talked. You guys know I love sports. I love sports, and the fact that it's more or less, we know what, it hurts me, but I still watch it. But if there was ever a play ever in a game that showed that how bad umpires are, they have a new rule right now in Major League Baseball. If an umpire calls a ball or a strike and the batter or the catcher thinks it was different, they can challenge it. They get 2 challenges a game. Most of the time, it takes them about 5 or 6, 7 challenges before they lose their 2 challenges. So if each team gets 2 challenges and it takes 6 times before they lose their 2, that's 12 challenges, and the umpire was only right 4 times. But see, what I get upset about is baseball is I used to be a catcher, and when a pitcher threw the ball, I caught it and I held it there. Now you catch a ball over here, and the pitcher catch a ball over here, catcher grabs it, tries to put it right down the middle of the plate. I've actually seen strikes thrown, but the catcher didn't think it was a strike, and he moved it over and moved it out of the strike zone, so it was called a ball. But now you have the challenges. But the play I'm talking about happened against the Chicago Cubs last night. There was a slow hit ball down the third baseline. And the ball just kept rolling and rolling. There's no way the third baseman, he was playing deep. There's no way he can throw the guy out. So he had to let it roll and roll and roll. And when it finally rolled about that much foul, an inch to maybe 2 inches, he picked the ball up. And the umpire goes, fair ball. Huh? The beauty about baseball, Major League Baseball, there's always replays on the TV. They put it up on the screen. What was they looking at? Now, my thing is, if a player does something wrong, they get suspended. There was an umpire the other night in one of the first games of the year calling balls and strikes. And in the first 2 innings with the White Sox game, the White Sox catcher, on pitches that this umpire said was balls, he contested it 6 times in 2 innings. He contested and won all 6. So what power does an umpire have when they lose their 2 challenges? If they lose them, they don't get them back. They get 1 extra one for extra innings. The catcher who made this 6 times in 2 innings come up to bat 2 innings later. We didn't have no challenges left. He got called out, and you couldn't challenge this one anyway. We might have challenges left. He got called out because he called timeout. He stepped out of the batter's box. He adjusts his arms. He does, the way the baseball players do, tipped his hat, whatever they do. And when he stepped back in, the umpire called an automatic strike on him because he said it took him too long to get ready in the batter's box after he called timeout. That was the umpire's way of saying, hey, I still got control. It's rigged. It's terrible. And it's hurting the kids. And that's what bothers me the most. It's hurting the kids. So Bruce's big call, the 28th, 2026, the 4th month. New prime minister today in Iraq, and it will be announced soon. One probably approved by President the Hat. No parliament, and will just have a council in Iraq. Bruce heard from a bond paymaster that our bondholders are to receive an email on Thursday afternoon telling them how much they have in their accounts, maybe even some from years ago. In that email on Tuesday afternoon, they should see when we will be able to get access to the funds. If they get that on Thursday afternoon, Bruce says Friday, May 1st, they will have access to it on Friday, May 1st. There is another piece that's not exactly related, but at 2 p.m. Wednesday, there is to be a cut in interest rates from Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve. Last ditch attempt, too little, too late. We already have a few Fed chairmen take over Powell sometime in May. Let's go back to the other info that is talking about us. We believe that we are to receive our 800 number emails most likely Thursday, and we know that the redemption centers may go in Thursday. Some will go in at 8:30, others will go in at 9:30. Why are some going in at 8:30? Not all of them going in at 8:30, because there's some areas in the redemption centers that there's not that many people. So it just depends on the demographic, depending on the markets for urgency. Bruce thinks that the one reason why we should get notifications on the 30th, and then based on that, we would exchange on Friday the 1st. Bruce's gut tells him, no, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have read that. If you know anyone either having a birthday on April 30th or May 1st, they are a winner. Yes, they are a winner, because how many people who's involved in this revaluation have thought, wow, what if it happens on my birthday? So Bruce is confident that it should happen either April 30th or May 1st. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Tomorrow, 7 currencies are to be on screen at the redemption centers out of 42 currencies. Also Wednesday, tomorrow, we are supposed to have the dinar. Oh, I got to wait. The dinar and many other currencies on the Forex. It is possible we could get notifications tomorrow, but Bruce still believes it's going to be Thursday, because when we get 800 numbers to call, get routed to a zip code center for the code to a live UNP. Because what Bruce is saying, we will get the 800 number, we will call. It will be AI generated. You will give your zip code, and they will route you to an 800 number. Then the people will take over and book your appointments. The QFS account will be set up for you and a Wells Fargo bank account, and then you later can set up a secondary bank account later with Wells Fargo, and then you can add other bank accounts that you want to open your QFS accounts. You can have up to 3 different banks attached to your QFS card. Your bank personal are not supposed to see, the bankers are not supposed to see your balances. They will not see your QFS account at the redemption center. We're not sure if they will actually see your QFS accounts. They most likely will at that time, because they have to set up the accounts. You may have 60 to 90 days. So have a number in mind of funds you may wish to move to other accounts during that time frame. You will get a Wells Fargo account, Wells Fargo debit card that can be used from day one. In exchange on Thursday, it may be Friday till you can access our funds. I think bondholders will get access to their funds sometime Friday the 1st. Hence, it would be true shotgun start, so we could all go at the same time. Bruce, April 28, 2026, extra. Debt relief is supposed to occur in the first few weeks of May. Tariff dividend checks would be out very soon. Maybe it is talking about direct deposits, not just physical mail checks. Sources say very soon. The debt relief, which is part of NESARA, is supposed to start in the first few days of May. Tariff dividends are part of it. We are looking for the EBS cranked out the day we start going for our exchanges. More than likely, military is in place. A lot of them at the redemption centers for the NESARA and for the time exchanges. The military there is for us security. Bruce also went on to talk about at the redemption centers, we will be getting quantum phones, maybe a slip to go to Best Buy to get a computer and other things. And see, what I want to add to this, and I said it a little bit earlier, guys, it's going to take hardly no time at all for them to count. They're going to put it in. They're supposed to, each redemption center is supposed to have at least 2 machines. If you're the only appointment in there, beep, 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 they're going to go through. It's going to take nothing. All I'm saying is have proof of what you have. You know, if you have, let's say you have 350 $1 million Bolivar, and you have a sheet, and let's say you have 5 $100 trillion notes, maybe 3 million dinar, 5 million dong. Do you see what I'm saying? You know what you have. If they come back and you have $351 million notes and they said, no, you only had 275. There's not going to be any cheating because the military's there. But just when you hand them this, say, just sign this. You hand them one, you keep one, you say, sign it, please. Because they might come back and say, well, you know, you miscounted. You didn't have 300, you had 320. You never know. Just be cautious, but don't be nervous. That is the main thing we have to try to stay away. You're going to have your time. It's going to be 40 to 45 minutes. You know, they said humanitarian projects. I'm going to talk about rebuilding my town. See, rebuilding my town used to be my number one project, but now it's the kids. When I was talking to Julia and she told me how she'd help me get into some orphanages so we could really get this going in the Ukraine, move it from the Ukraine to Russia and other countries that have orphanages. Come to the United States where they have them, where there's kids. So I am a big fan of movies. My favorite movie is Field of Dreams. And in the Field of Dreams, a saying was, if you build it, they will come. And if you guys know the story about the show, you'd understand it. And then there's another saying, ease the pain. And Julia said to me one day in a letter, she says, Ralph, she says, what's going to happen to the families when the war is over? When the war is over and they sit down for Sunday dinner and the chair is empty because their child, their teenage son or 20, 21-year-old son was lost in a war. Their daughter was lost in a war. What's going to happen? And Field of Dreams come to me. I said, Julia, we're going to build this. And they will come. And I explained to her, we'll build this. We'll get into the orphanages. We'll build them up. So even while the kids are still there, they'll have the things that they need, not the things that they don't need. They'll be able to watch TV. They'll have games. They'll be able to have a playground outside where they can go out and play. There'll be no war so they can play and be safe. But we'll also do advertisement over there. We will build it. When we build it, they will come. And when we do, we will target families that lost children. Now, you know, if you lost a 20-year-old son, a 20-year-old daughter in a war, and you can show them how they can adopt maybe an 8 or 10-year-old boy, maybe a 12 or 13-year-old boy or girl. It's not their child, blood-wise. But if you adopt a 10-year-old son or a 10-year-old daughter, and you raise them just like they're yours, it's going to ease the pain because you have that chair filled now. That bed is filled now. You'll go get a new bed for them. But they'll be filled and we will build it, they will come and will ease the pain. And that to me means the world to me. It means the world to me because, see, there's so many people out there. I have 2 nieces that would do anything to be able to adopt, but you can't afford it. With us, you're not going to have to worry about affording it. But I'm going to explain to these people, and I practice it at home, and I can get this explanation, what we want to do, in about 3 minutes. Then I'm going to explain to them about what we want to do for the animals. Similar thing. We want animals. If we can't get them adopted, we want to have nice places where they can live and be taken care of. Then comes my town. And then anything anybody else here would like to do. I want to donate money. I want to build small centers like doctors' offices. You know, if doctors are not going to be like they are now, like right over in this town I went to high school in, Herscher, there's a nice doctor's office. We're not going to need them. So we turn that doctor's office into a center. They already have the rooms. All we have to do is put the beds in there, get the people trained. You're not going to need to go there all the time, but they're going to be there. It will have all of the beds in there except for the regression one, because that one needs to be in a special place. But I want to do that. And when we get the centers built where we want them, and I'm hoping I can talk to people like Bruce and people who has all of this currency and explain to them, we need to put these little centers in within a 5 to 10 mile radius of several small towns. Like right now, something, if you have an accident, you get them to a redemption, to a center, and they can be saved. But if they have to take them all the way to Kankakee, which is 20 some miles away, can they last that long? Maybe they'll come up with a portable that you'll have them in the ambulances if needed. I can get this presentation done for 4 different projects. When we get them built like that, then I just want to keep donating money for years after years after years to the progress of building it. Jared Rand taught me and Ron about these beds. When he taught me about these beds, I was excited. But just in the few years since he explained to this, where we have went to where we're at now, it's like, wow. It's like difference of night and day. It's just unbelievable. So what could it be? Bill, what could it be? Mike Davis, good to see you, Mike. Ain't heard from you for a while. What could it be? Everybody over here and over here. If we keep exploring and going. Jared Rand said we could live to be 120, 125. Now I've seen reports of, hey, 300 or 400. What if this is heaven on earth? You know, what if it's heaven on earth and we don't need to worry about things? And I need to move on. As we move through, this is from Judy Bidington summary. As we move through the final days of April 2026, the financial world stands on a precipice of transformation unlike anything witnessed in modern history. According to the latest report from Judy Bidington, a seasoned journalist and researcher, we are currently witnessing a systematic dismantling of the old fiat economy, currency-backed, global the currency. For those tracking these developments, the timeline provided suggests the transitions is no longer distant. Possibility is unfolding in real time. The report highlights a series of black swan events signaling the end of the current era. In late April 2026, the cracks in traditional systems became impossible to ignore, with reports surfacing 40 bank collapses in China and significant banking failures within the United States. The narrative suggests that these are not merely economic hiccups, but a decontrolled demolition of the deep CA, fiat Swiss system as the Federal Reserve faces its final market days. The centerpiece of this update is the global currency reset, GCR, scheduled to be fully ignited on May 1st and 2nd, 2026. The GCR is marks the moment that when 209 nations transitions gold and asset-backed currencies under a new system, currencies are expected to be 1-to-1 ratio, eliminating predatory exchanges practices in the past. Central to this transition, the quantum financial system, QFS, unlike the old SWIFT system, is the QFS is designed transparency. Chinese elders who provide the gold backing this shift reportedly overseen by sovereign treasury under the leadership of President DJT, aiming the implementation of NESARA/GESARA laws, legislations intended to provide global debt relief. For the internet group known as Tier 4B, the report provides specific logistics details in coming days. This group represents an awakened digital community holding currencies like Iraq dinar and Zimbabwe zim. The report concludes with a sense of extreme urgency, with the IMF in a hurry and the dollar allegedly going up in flames. The advice for the general public is to prepare for a temporary period of instability. We are told that the world we knew fading, replaced by the system designed for equality and sovereignty. Whether its final storm or another step in the longer process, the message from Byington reports a clear transition of gold-backed restored republic is reaching its crescendo as we move into May 2026. The mantra remains: stay alert, stay prepared, and be ready. It pretty much says it all as far as what we're talking. It's good to see everyone on here tonight. Dear Lord, as we come to the end, there's people in here in our group, Lord, that needs help. One voice is just coming back. Please look after all of our people, all of our family, all of our friends, and anyone who needs help, Lord. Look after them, put an angel on their shoulder, and help them be here. So when these magical times come, we can show you that we can turn your world that you've always wanted like heaven on earth as we come to you, talk to you, and pray to you through our Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. Good night, everyone. Let's hope and pray we get something tomorrow. Keep your spirits up. Great seeing everyone here. Good night. God bless, and we love you all.